Hey there, welcome to Community. My name's Tony, and it's so great to have you with us today. If this is your first time joining us, the band is going to kick things off for us in just a minute. Lyrics will be up on the screen so you can engage with the music however you'd like. Sit or stand, however you feel most comfortable. After that, one of our pastors is going to share a message with us. All in all, the service will last for about an hour. If you're new, make sure you head down to the black table in the corner of the cafe on your way out. We've got something just for you. If you're joining us online, wherever you're joining from, thanks for making Community a part of your weekend. Last thing, if you're in the building with us, we've got some awesome programs happening downstairs for your kids. They're safe, secure, and your kids are bound to have a blast. You've still got time to check them in. If you head down to the big blue wall in the main entrance, you can check them in there. And with that being said, we're gonna get started here in just a moment. So find your seats if you haven't already. Here we go.
Good morning, Community Church. We're going to do some singing. You're invited to stand and join us.
You never break your promise. So Jesus said to a whole group of his followers, those who listen to my words and do them and put them into practice, it was like as if they were building their house where they lived on the solid rock. A rock that would withstand the waves and the winds and the rains and the storms that would come in life. Jesus was basically saying, like, circumstances that you don't want in your life are guaranteed. But for those who have built their house on the rock, on his word, they could withstand the storms. They could make it through to the other side, not because of their strength, but because of his. I'd love for you to keep that in mind as we sing this next song. Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand when everything around me is shaking. I've never been more glad that I put my faith in Jesus, 'cause he's never let me down. He's faithful through generations. So why would he fail now? He won't. He won't. And I've still got joy in chaos. I've got peace that makes no sense, and I won't be going under. I'm not held by my own strength, 'cause I build my life on Jesus, and he's never let me down. He's faithful through every season. So why would he fail now? He won't. No, 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 he won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. He won't fail. Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand when everything around me is shaking. I've never been more glad that I put my faith in Jesus. He's never let me down. He's faithful through generations.
mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire, darkest night. You are close like no other. I've known you as a father. I've known you as a friend. And I have lived in the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after me. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. Every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I will sing of the goodness of God.
Thank you for singing with us. You can have a seat.
Well, hey everyone, good morning. My name is John, and it's great to be together again.
Good morning. My name is Tom. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Happy November. Can you believe it's November? Yes, some are excited. Not ready for the turkey and stuffing just yet. I understand. But if you are here with us, we are grateful that you've taken some time out of your weekend to join us. It's good to be together again. If you are joining us for the first time, we'd love to connect with you. There's a couple ways in which you could do that. You can head over to communitychurch.net/connect. That's our connect page. It might be on the screen if you're watching from somewhere else. There's a QR code. You can scan that. On that connect page, one, it's the hub for all the things that we're going to mention this morning, but also there's a connect form there. We'd love for you to fill that out. If you do that online, we'll send you a gift in the mail. Or if you're here in person after the service, downstairs in our cafe, head to a table that has a banner that says, I'm new. Talk to one of our hosts, fill out the form there, and we'll give you a gift just for doing that.
Anybody here really like Netflix? A couple of Netflix users, right? It's a pretty good tool. If you want to be entertained, this is a tool to help you if you want 24/7 on any device. If you want to watch something dramatic, you want to watch a documentary, you want to watch a comedy, whatever you want for the purpose of entertainment, it's on there for you whenever. Wouldn't it be cool, though, if there was something like that to help you own your faith, to grow in your faith? That would be pretty awesome, that you could access 24/7 from any device. And if you wanted to go on there and learn about parenting, or if you wanted to go on there and learn about marriage or singleness, a book of the Bible, finance, recovery, if all that was in one place, that would be really awesome. Well, it turns out that there is. It's called Right Now Media. And here's something that's really, really cool, is that Community Church has purchased a church subscription to Right Now Media. So that means that everybody here gets their own account. 24/7, it's yours. You get Right Now Media, and you get Right Now Media, and you get Right Now Media. Woo! All you have to do to take access to this incredible tool is to text 4Babylon to 49775. You can take out your phones right now and just send a text message. They're going to send you an invite link. It takes about 2 to 3 minutes to fill out. And then that will be your subscription forever. You can go on there and watch parenting videos, marriage videos, books of the Bible. There's over 2,000 resources on there for kids and teens. And so our hope is that this is something that helps our church continue to own their faith and to continue to grow. And so Right Now Media, check it out. 4Babylon to 49775. Even if you're watching online, you are welcome to that. And that is our hope together as a church to continue growing.
Yeah. And if you've been a partner with us financially, if you've given generously to our church, you have helped make something like this happen, where people can download an app or subscribe and then be able to access all of this content to help grow their faith. So if you're a partner with us, thank you for doing that. If you're interested in giving, if you have some questions about what that looks like, you can head over to our Connect page and do that there.
Well, that's all for us. And so Lou will be up here in a few moments to continue week 2 of our series, Dealing with Doubt. So check it out.
All right, well, it's great to be together again. If this is your first time with us, I'm so glad you're here. My name's Lou. Today is officially 1 p.m. service launch day, so that's exciting. Yes, and even if you're not at the 1 p.m. service or you're not serving at the 1 p.m. service, if you're part of this community to any extent, you are part of the reason why we're doing 1 p.m. service. So thank you. It's an exciting time in the life of our church. Today we're continuing a series called Dealing with Doubt. If you weren't with us last week, don't worry, I'll bring you up to speed real quick. However, this is really one of those series that kind of builds from one week to the next. So you might want to go back and listen to the message last week at some point, just so you can see the big picture. All the messages are available at communitychurch.net. So here's where we'll pick up from last week. Let's start with a little game, all right? True or false? I'm going to give you a little statement, and you try to figure out whether that statement is true or false. I'll give you a chance to vote if you want to participate, okay? First statement. There are more fake flamingos in the world than real flamingos. True or false? If you think that's true, raise your hand nice and high if you want to participate. All right, if you think that's false, raise your hand nice and high. All right. I'm not going to tell you what the answer is yet. Second one. Strawberries are not berries, but bananas are berries. If you think that's true, raise your hand nice and high. That's true. All right, if you think that's false, raise your hand nice and high. Okay, very interesting. All right, last statement rather. Miracle berries are berries that temporarily change your taste buds so that sour tastes sweet. I think that's true. Raise your hand nice and high. All right, if you think that's false, raise your hand nice and high. Okay, very interesting. All right, you ready? Here's the reveal. All of those statements are true. All of them. Yes, that's very exciting. We're very excited about the fake flamingos. Yeah, all right, all the statements are true. Now, the point of that whole thing is to get you to feel the feeling of uncertainty, what we're calling doubt. For the sake of this series, we're defining doubt as the feeling of uncertainty. As I'm saying those statements, you're probably thinking, like, what's the deal here? Is this true? Is it false? Maybe you're somewhere in the middle of true and false. Unless you're an expert on plastic manufacturing or all things berries, you probably were somewhere in the land of uncertainty. We're calling doubt the feeling of uncertainty. I gave you a little visual last week, right? Where we have disbelief. This is absolutely no, false, 100% confident, or we can say relatively certain, false. We also have belief, which is true, yes, or relatively certain, yes, it's true. Both of these extremes are places of certainty or relative certainty. Anything in the middle, whether it's right in the middle, like I don't know, or over here, like probably, or over here, like probably not. This is the land of uncertainty. In other words, this is the place where doubt lives. Doubt lives in between our two places of certainty. And in life, doubt can be a really helpful thing, right? Like this winter, if you're gonna go walk out on some ice, let's say there's a frozen pond or lake, you're gonna walk out. I hope you're gonna feel a little bit of uncertainty before you go running out onto the ice, right? Maybe you've got some questions. You're like, all right, how cold has it been lately? How thick is this ice? How much do I weigh? There are some questions there, and that's a helpful thing. And ideally, when you ask those questions will bring you to a place of, yes, this is safe, or no, this is not safe. We don't like to be in the uncertain, but we recognize the importance, even the benefit of being in uncertain places so that we can end up at places of relative certainty. One day, someone's gonna wanna date my daughter, and probably I'm gonna be told this guy's a good guy. And you can bet I'm gonna land here in the place of uncertainty. I'm gonna have some questions. And I want to end up over here, like believing, okay, he's a good guy, or even landing over here, like, no, he's not a good guy. We'll take care of that real fast. But this is a helpful thing, right? We recognize uncertainty can be a tool that can point us in the direction of certainty. However, when you take that idea and bring it over into the church world, a lot of times we talk about doubt like it's not something helpful. Doubt is seen often as something very negative. It's bad. And in the real world, we're like, lean into your doubt, lean into your feelings of uncertainty. A lot of times in the church world, we're like, push out those feelings of uncertainty. Pretend that they're not there. And so we're forced to live as if this doesn't exist. And there's either belief or there's unbelief. You can either believe certainly with all the things, all the time, or you don't believe at all. And that's just not realistic. And the problem with that is if you're in the church thing, if you're trying to follow Jesus, you might feel the pressure to be totally certain about all the things all the time, or to pretend to be totally certain about all the things all the time. And what becomes even more problematic about that is if you hear a convincing argument about something you believe that seems to push you in the other direction, like you watch a documentary on Netflix, or you hear a professor say something, or you talk to a friend that's pretty confident in their other beliefs or whatever, rather than going from, okay, I'm pretty sure I believe this, to, I have some questions, it's like you get knocked all the way from belief to disbelief. Like, because there's no room for anything in between, because that's bad. You're gonna act like that's not there. Or maybe you're not a church person. You don't typically go to church. You're just doing someone a favor by being here today, and you're like, yeah, I'm pretty confident I'm right here. And you're not willing to step in the direction of belief because you've been told you're either in or you're out, right? And so you feel like, well, I'm either here or I gotta like make this huge leap from not believing anything to believing all the stuff all the time. And so no, I can't do that. But what if there's room to go from, I'm totally sure that it's not true, to, all right, it's probably not true, but it might be. Like, what if you can take steps? What if we made room for doubt? What if we leaned into it instead of pushing it out? If we were real about it, honest about it. And so what we're doing in this series is talking about how to deal with doubt. And where we can, also talking about how God deals with our doubt, how the one being doubted deals with our doubt. Like, what do we do with it? Last week, I told you we covered a lot last week, but we looked at John the Baptist, a guy who is this example of great faith. What I said last week was that we were really laying the foundation for something you have to believe if you're going to deal with doubt. John the Baptist, Jesus calls him the GOAT. He literally says there's no one greater than John the Baptist. And he chooses to say that. He chooses to speak highly of John the Baptist when John the Baptist is at his absolute lowest. When he's doubting that Jesus is the one. When he's not totally sure about all of this. And Jesus speaks highly about him. What we said is that should give you the freedom to admit your doubts. Or the takeaway last week was your doubts don't discredit your faith. It is so important to know that if you're going to honestly deal with your doubts. Your questions don't kick you out. They don't disqualify you. And so you can be real, you can admit them, you can be honest with them. Your doubts don't discredit your faith. It's a big, big, big thing. This week, though, we're looking at doubt from a different angle. Like I said, we're kind of building on it a little bit. So several years ago, I heard about these things called miracle berries. They're berries or berries in a tablet form. You could suck on it and they change your taste buds. I got them here. You get them on Amazon. They're $10, all right? So I heard about it and I was like, no way, not a chance. There's no way these berries can change your taste buds. I just don't believe it. I got to try it for myself. I'll hear you out, but I got to try it for myself. And so I did. And it's pretty cool. You suck on this tablet and it works. It tricks your taste buds. You can drink pure lemon juice and it tastes like lemonade. You can drink vinegar and it tastes not like vinegar. I mean, it's not good, but it doesn't taste like vinegar. It tastes kind of sweet. It's very interesting. The problem is that it can trick your taste buds, but it can't trick your stomach. And your stomach is like, what the heck with all the vinegar, you know? So I learned my lesson. But it was like, okay, I didn't believe it. Right away, I got questions. You know, I didn't believe it was true. I was watching a YouTube video probably like 4 or 5 years ago. There's this guy, he's got a channel. He's a handyman. He fixes stuff. And he posted this video. It's kind of out of character for him. He was talking about his sleep. He's like, I've had all these sleep problems forever. I've tried all the things. I've taken the supplements. I've tried the machines. He's like, but I finally found something that works. He said, if I duct tape my mouth at night, it helps me to sleep. Now, this has kind of become a thing. Like, you can actually buy mouth tape at Walgreens because it's gotten so popular. But 4 or 5 years ago, nobody was doing this. It sounded crazy. I was like, this guy's nuts. I didn't believe it. But I was like, all right, but you know what? Maybe if he can fix my sink, maybe he can fix my sleeping problem, you know, like, so I'll give it a try. Like, I'll hear you out, but I got to try it for myself. And so I did. I tried it. It kind of works, but I had to try for myself. And what I'm trying to say is, like, for me, I'll hear you out, but my default response is just questions. You know, like, I'm pretty skeptical. I'm pretty slow to believe. Like John the Baptist, if he doubts in his darkest season, sometimes I doubt when the sun's shining, you know? Just got questions. And if you're like that, then this might be helpful for you. Like, we talked last week about how Jesus spoke highly of John even when he's doubting. But what we didn't talk about was how he actually felt about his doubts. Like, did Jesus like that John was doubting? Was that a positive thing? Did he enjoy that? Was he neutral? Was it like, all right, whatever? Or did it bother him? Was it something like, was it a sin that he was willing to forgive, but was it bad? Like, how should we actually feel about these doubts? And how does God feel about these doubts? Are they bad? Are they good? Are they positive? What do we do with them? We've talked a lot about a guy named Paul. Paul started churches all over the known world. If you've been here for a while, you've heard us talk about him. And he went from place to place telling people the good news about Jesus. He started with the Jewish community. Jesus was Jewish. It's kind of a different story for a different time. But he starts with these Jewish people, and he's trying to tell them, hey, the hero you've been waiting for, this Messiah that your Bible told you was coming, he's here. His name is Jesus. He's spreading this like good news, trying to show people this way of life with God as king, what we call the kingdom of God. And he goes around from place to place, and it's recorded how people respond. A guy by the name of Luke recorded what the church looked like when the church first started and how people responded to these claims about Jesus. And these responses show us something super powerful about living in the land of uncertainty and about how God feels about our doubts. And so here, this is in Acts chapter 17. Here's what we read. It says, when Paul and his companions, there's a guy named Silas who traveled around with Paul. He traveled around with other people. When they passed through Amphipolis and Apollonia, they came to Thessalonica, a city called Thessalonica, where there was a Jewish synagogue. Very common in ancient cities to have Jewish synagogues. As it was his custom, Paul went into the synagogue, and on 3 Sabbath days, that's Saturday, he reasoned with them from the scriptures, explaining and proving that the Messiah, the one they were waiting for, that he had to suffer and rise from the dead. This one you've been waiting for, look at your scriptures. He had to suffer and rise from the dead. His message is, this Jesus I am proclaiming to you is the Messiah. These people have never heard this. He's trying to tell them, look, he's the one here. Some of the Jews were persuaded, and they joined Paul and Silas, as did a large number of God-fearing or devout Greeks and quite a few prominent women, which is an interesting way to describe some women, but this is a very contextual thing, right? The people reading this would have understood he's talking about certain women in society. It's kind of another story for another time. But the idea is he shows up to Thessalonica, and the Thessalonians, they hear and they believe. They're like, all right, sounds good to me, Paul. What you said makes sense. I believe. They land almost at the place of uncertainty, or of certainty rather, right away. They're on board. And Paul loves this. People who study the Bible would say that Paul's favorite group of people were the Thessalonians. I think this is why. It's because he presented this to them. They're like, yeah, great, we love it. And so he wrote 2 letters to them. In his letters, he just raves about them, how much he loves them so much. They're great. I think it's because they believed what he said. He loved it. But there were some people that responded in a different way. We're told other Jews were jealous. They didn't like the way this was changing their structure, their system of practicing religion, specifically those who were in positions of power. And so what do? They round up some bad characters from the marketplace, formed a mob, and started a riot in the city, just like that. Like, pretty brief description of a pretty significant thing. But what Luke is trying to tell us here, the one who's recording all this, is like, okay, so some people, like, they were on board. They were like, cool, we love it, Paul. Other people are like, no, we got our reasons, but no thanks, and get out, right? So their response is here and disbelief. They end up at the other place of certainty over here. Like, we're not into it. Get out of here. They're violent about it. But then there's the third response. It says in the next verse, as soon as it was night, the believers sent Paul and Silas away to Berea, right? There's a riot. They're like, probably time to move on. And so on arriving there, they went into the Jewish synagogue, which was their custom. This is where people went to talk about what they believed. And then Luke presses pause on the story, and he doesn't do this many times throughout the book of Acts, but he stops to tell us something subjective, to give us a subjective description of these people. He's no longer recording the facts. He says, now, the Berean Jews were of more noble character than those in Thessalonica. The term noble character, if you read different translations of the Bible, you'll see this translated all different ways. Some say noble-minded. It literally means to be born of royal descent, like you're related to a king or a queen. But there are no kings or queens in this story. The closest equivalent we have to this term in our culture is to say someone is high class, right? It can literally be talking about their socioeconomic status, but more often it's talking about the way that they live. There's something about the way that these people live that's virtuous. It's commendable. There's something about their approach to life, has nothing to do with how much money they make. He's saying there's something about their approach to life that's worth pointing out here. And so why? What makes them of noble character? It says, well, they received the message with great eagerness. Like, I'll hear you out. Let's see. And not that they believed, but they examined the scriptures every day to see if what Paul said was actually true. In other words, they don't believe. The word here for examine, it's a legal term. It's used in the courtroom. It's the idea of like cross-examining or questioning somebody or scrutinizing a story, like really digging in, trying to find fault, finding the holes in the argument. And what Luke is saying here is, look, this was a good thing. There was something virtuous about these people because they didn't just accept what he said. They examined it. They dug into it. They scrutinized it. And as a result, many of them believed, as did also a number of prominent Greek women and many Greek men. Again, that's a contextual thing. But the result is belief. In other words, we've got three approaches here, right? We've got hear and believe in the beginning. We've got hear and disbelieve, like no thanks, get out. And then we have hear and believe. They hear and they do believe. But it was because they questioned, because they examined, because they scrutinized what he said. In other words, they heard and they didn't believe that what he said was true until they questioned it enough to see that what he said was actually true. They were uncertain about his claims. In other words, on the way to belief was doubt, uncertainty. And what Luke is saying as he's writing is, this is the better way. This is the better way. In other words, if we were saying last week that it's safe to admit your doubts, to just come out with them, like how does God feel about them? Are they bad? Are they neutral? The idea here is engage them. Engage them. Embrace them. Dig into them. Address your questions. Don't just admit them, like go after them. Dig deeper. Luke's like, this is the better way. And it led to belief. It was a positive thing. And I think like what this should show us, if nothing else, is that God is not afraid of your microscope. You can ask your questions and look for answers. And like according to Luke, it may lead you to belief or stronger faith. The closer you get, the more impressed you'll be. Some of you know my wife and I, we purchased a house from my parents a few years ago right here in Babylon. And when we moved in, we loved the house. But right away, the one thing that we didn't like was the front door. Front door was blue, and it had that oval on it, like oval with like the diamond-shaped glass, you know, the front door like everybody has. And so when we walked in, when we like moved in, Allie's like, okay, we got to change that right away. Now, if that's your front door, it's beautiful and it might be your thing. But for us, like, wasn't our thing. We're like, okay, we got to do something about it. So we looked up how much it costs to replace the front door. And very quickly, I was like, we're not replacing the front door because it costs $1 gazillion to replace your front door. And so we lived with it. But eventually I found this thing on Pinterest. It was a kit where you could chop a hole in your front door, you could cut out the glass, make like a big rectangle, and you can replace it with this different kind of glass that looks whatever, changes the vibe of the door. And Allie was like, I want you to do that. And so I did it. And then we painted the door black, and she's thrilled. It looks like a totally different door. I finished it, and I'm like, wow, this really did change the whole appearance of the house, and it looks really good from the street. But when people come over and they actually have to walk through the door, like as they get closer and closer, I just start explaining the door. I'm like, yeah, it's nice, it's not perfect, it's got this gash. You know, there's this one area where you can see like I kind of measured wrong a little bit. If you want to close it, you kind of like throw your weight into a little bit. Like it's not all that great the closer that you get to the door. You see the flaws. We have this other family friend who actually passed away, but he was a master craftsman, and he would make furniture. for his grandchildren, my cousins. And I like see the stuff that he built, and the closer you got to what he built, the more impressive it was. Like he put an insane amount of effort into the smallest details. It was beautiful. And I think that some of us are afraid that God is like my front door, when in actuality, he's more like the beautifully crafted furniture, right? Like, okay, we like him from a distance, but if I really get into this, if I get really close, I'm gonna start to see all the issues, and maybe it's not as good as I thought, and there's a lot of cracks in it, and so I should just kind of swallow my questions and deal with my own feelings of uncertainty on my own. When in actuality, the closer you get, the more impressive he is. Like, I don't know a lot, and if you get to know me, you'll figure it out pretty quickly. But I think I know more about God than I've ever known at this point in my life. And the more I learn, the more I study, the more questions I ask, the more convinced and the more impressed I am with who he says he is. God is not afraid of your microscope. And because of that, you can address your questions, engage your doubts. You'll be glad you did. And I think that there's some real practical benefits for us when we do this. I would argue that an engaged doubt often becomes a stable belief, like a more stable belief. Jesus talked about this when he was telling a parable about seed thrown in different places, right? It's an amazing parable. There's a lot to it. But one thing I want to point out, all right, he says there's one group of seeds that land in soil that's kind of shallow, and the seeds sprout quickly with enthusiasm and joy. He's talking about people that like believe right away, like, oh, this is amazing, and just boom, like right away, I'm totally in it, it's exciting. He's like, but a lot of times that withers because there's no root. But then he talks about this other batch of seeds. He's like, but then there's another group that lands on soil, and it doesn't sprout as quickly, but it sinks in, and it grows roots. It grows in a way that's stable, in a way that can reproduce. I think this is the idea here he's talking about. This is why Luke is saying this is the better way. Go ahead, ask your questions, like really dig into it. The doubts that are currently weakening your faith may have the potential to eventually be the roots that strengthen it. But it requires you to engage them, to ask the questions, to engage the doubts. And this can be done on an intellectual level, like by asking questions and learning stuff. It could also be done on an experiential level, meaning you can engage your doubts by putting them into practice, by taking a step just to see if there's anything to it, right? Like maybe this could apply to your marriage, like where you read followers of Jesus say that you should submit to one another in your relationship, which is nobody's favorite verse. But it's like serve the other, put the other one first. And it's like, I don't know about that, right? But you put it into practice, and that's one of those things where if two parties are doing it, it's no longer 50-50 and mutual compromise, but it's 100-100, and there's a mutual sense of vulnerability with the other one completely like living for the other. You see the intimacy that comes from that level of vulnerability, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, maybe there's something to this. Maybe the closer I get to it, the more invested I am in it, the better it actually is. This is true for me in the realm of finances. I heard the things that Jesus said about money, like how he tied your internal sense of peace and stability to the way you handle your finances externally, how that actually changes where you find your sense of security. And it's like, I don't know about that, right? Like it sounds good in theory, but then you actually put it into practice, and you see that actually it does do something to your heart, how like where Jesus said, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Like how it gives you a sense of security in the provider, not in the stuff that he provides. This is the way you can engage your doubts, by putting things into practice, or by looking for questions, or answers to your questions intellectually. An engaged doubt often becomes a stable belief. But there's another side to this. I would argue that an engaged doubt often becomes a personal belief, meaning the belief becomes your own. For a lot of us, like some of us have faith. Our faith is riding in the bed of the pickup truck of someone else's faith. Like you believe something because someone else told you. Maybe it was a parent, maybe it was a teacher. Like, think about it like this. Imagine I were to tell you that pizza is the best, right? It's the best food. It tastes the best. And you've never had pizza, but you choose to believe me. You're like, all right, I believe it. Pizza's the best. And so you get a t-shirt. It's like, pizza's the best. I love pizza. You put a poster on your wall. You put like some writings about pizza in your kitchen because pizza's the best. You still never had it, but it's the best. And you believe me. And then we all meet together and we sing songs about how great pizza is and we love it. And you believe me. But what happens if one day you find out, I've never had pizza? Like, I'm just a big phony. And really, you were just believing my claims about pizza. Right? That's not your belief, that's my belief. But if I tell you pizza's the best, and you're like, all right, I'll hear you out, but I gotta see for myself. Like, I'll hear you, but I'm gonna question it, I'm gonna scrutinize it. In fact, I'm going down to the pizzeria and I'm gonna order myself a slice of grandma pie or Sicilian or whatever. It only takes one slice, you know? And you eat it for yourself and you're like, pizza is the best. It is. Then you find out, like, I've never had pizza, and you're like, oh, that stinks. But it doesn't affect your belief because it's your own. Because you engage your question, you engage your doubt, you found out for yourself, and it became your own personal belief, not someone else's. This is why there's value in engaging your doubts, in asking your questions, in making your faith your own. This is why we're doing the Right Now Media thing. So you can ask questions. You got questions about marriage. You got questions, like we can try to answer questions. We can try to do all the relevant series. But there's just so much. And now you can just go ask your own questions. Like watch your own stuff. Dig in on your own. Own your growth. It's one of our values here. We say own your growth. No one else can. And it becomes your own. It becomes your own. There's another aspect to this passage, though. Another thing that was so valuable about the way that they heard. It says these people, if we go back to the verse, it says these people, they received the message with great eagerness. Let's make it yellow. Eagerness. Eagerness. They heard it with a willingness to hear and act. All right, so this week, I learned for the first time, I did not know this, I learned for the first time that you cannot hum if you plug your nose. Cannot, it's impossible. All right, stop. Okay, so like a good percentage of you right away, we're just like, I gotta find that out right away. That feeling, that is the feeling of eagerness, right? Okay, now go ahead. Everybody just try it so we get it out of the way, and, right? Yeah, it's like the air has no place to go, so you can't do it. But that feeling, like that's how you should hear the things in here. You hear someone say this, you hear someone say something about God, like, oh, I gotta try for myself. Make it your own. It's okay to admit your doubts, but you shouldn't sit on them. Engage them. You'll be glad you did. God is not afraid of your microscope. We're just about out of time, so I'm gonna ask the band to come back up here, but I wanna leave you with one more story. So about 4 years ago, my wife, Allie, she went out. I don't know, she might have gone out with a friend or something. She left the house, and so I was home alone with the kids. I put the kids to bed, and I figured because she was gone, I was like, you know what, let me try to go to bed early. And so I shut off all the lights in my house. Like I said, I put the kids to bed. I just basically shut everything down and tried to go to sleep. Well, she came home a little while later, and she pulled up to the house, and all the lights were off. And right away, she's like, that's weird. Like, we typically be awake at this point. Why is everything shut down so early? She opened the front door, and she saw that the dog was not typically where the dog was. And so she was a little bit more unsettled. And then she walked into the bedroom, and she saw my body, like, laying under the covers. She got up real close, and she saw that I was laying there with my eyes closed and my mouth taped. And she was terrified. It's the first time I had done it. Didn't tell her I was going to do it. Now, in that moment, she had three choices. She could have just chosen to believe that I was okay, right? And crawled into bed and just like tried to tell her, he's probably fine, and just hope that there's not a dead body right next to her. She also could have not believed that I was fine. And she could have just said, well, I guess he's dead, and planned the funeral. But she didn't do either of those things. She ripped the tape off my mouth. No, I'm just kidding. She shoved me, she grabbed me, she woke me up. She wanted to see if I was alive. And I was. It was fine. And then she went to bed and she slept like a baby. Some of us are like lying in bed next to our doubts, just like hoping that's what we want it to be. Hoping that it's real. Hoping that there's some truth to it. Just hoping. Others of us have already planned the funeral of our faith. But part of what we believe is that it is good to engage your doubt, to wake it up, give it a shove, ask your questions. God is not afraid of your microscope. The doubts that are currently weakening your faith may become the roots that strengthen it and allow you to sleep soundly. But it requires you to address your questions, engage your doubts. And I think what you'll see, if you have the courage to do that, is that the closer you get to him, the more impressive he is. Let's pray. God, we're grateful that you are not afraid of our questions. You're not threatened by our doubts, and you invite us to embrace them, to ask, to seek, to knock, to search. And so would you give us the courage to do that? Would you give us the ability to articulate the questions that we have, the doubts that we have? Would you give us the courage and the strength to seek out answers, to take steps of faith, to engage our doubts, not just admit them, but engage them? And would you surround us with people and resources that can help us find answers to the questions that we have, so that we'll see you to be as good as you are, so that we'll get closer and see that you're better than we thought. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
We're going to sing one more song. You're invited to stand and join us. The Lord is my shepherd, and he is everything I need. I will not worry, I will not fear the enemy. He said that he loves me. He said that he's with me, even though I walk through the valley of shadow and death, and still I know he has good plans. He has good plans for me. So I will take heart in deserts and gardens. He has good plans. He has good plans for me. Yes, I know my Father, I know my Father has good plans. The Lord is my Savior, so why should I doubt my victory? Why would I question the rod and the staff that comforts me? He quiets the waters, he quiets the storm inside of me. So what Bye-bye.